Yo, what is up, YouTube? As I wear the Stay Bearded t-shirt, courtesy of Dan C. Bearded. Please check out Dan C's YouTube channel, Dan C. Bearded. And first off, welcome to my channel, Sean P. Reviews. And if you're subscribed, thank you for subscribing to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover the topic. I'm actually doing a reaction video to the topic of should college athletes get paid? And I'm not going to really give my thoughts on this topic until after the video, but I'm going to go ahead and do a reaction to this topic. So let's get it. Let me get these earbuds in.
Millions of viewers began tuning into college basketball's March Madness games today. Billions of dollars are paid for the TV rights. Last year, an average of 11 million people tuned in throughout the month. And yet, one question looms larger than ever. Should the players be entitled to compensation? Yes. Our economics correspondent Paul Salmon explores the issues this would raise. It's part of his weekly Making Sense report, which airs Thursdays on the NewsHour.
In the corner, O'Bannon. Bruins with a three.
I saw myself on a video game.
Former UCLA star Ed O'Bannon, MVP of the 1995 NCAA Finals.
It was pretty cool to watch. I mean,
I remember when he got
ball-headed,
drafted by New Jersey Nets back in the day.
I was very pleased about it.
But the friend who showed O'Bannon the game was puzzled.
What's funny about it is he says we paid X amount of dollars for it, for the video game, and you didn't get one penny.
It was this encounter that sparked a famous firestorm.
I remember playing that too.
Ed O'Bannon's eventual 2009 lawsuits against the NCAA and video game maker EA Sports for blatant and unlawful use of student-athlete likenesses to increase sales and profits while denying college athletes any share of the revenues they generated, besides a full tuition sports scholarship.
Close to 15 years later, and they're still making money off of my image. I just thought to myself, there's got to be something wrong about this. If I was an entertainer of any other sort, would I have these same things happen to me, you know?
No, you get royalties, residuals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Smile, hold it.
We come to find what's happened to Ed O'Bannon and his suit, landing in Las Vegas, passing the Strip, more decked out than ever, winding up in Henderson, Nevada, where O'Bannon works, lives, and helps coach basketball at Liberty High School. He now coaches the NCAAers of tomorrow, who, if they're absurdly good and lucky, will play in a Final Four themselves someday. The rights paid to the NCAA to broadcast the tournament this year, nearly $1 billion. The players take? Still zero. New York Times columnist Joe Nocera has long made the case for paying so-called student athletes. It's starkly laid out in his new book, Indentured.
They are fundamentally exploited by a system that makes not millions of dollars, but billions of dollars, and that enriches everybody around them except themselves.
But athletes, if they make it, make millions of dollars.
Sure, the very small 5% who make it from college to the pros will get very rich. What about the other 95%?
O'Bannon became one of the 5%,
he got drafted by New Jersey.
and yet in college, he often went hungry for lack of cash.
There were many nights when I went through the night without eating.
You?
Oh, absolutely.
It's simple, gentlemen. The little things is what's going to win us the game.
Back at Liberty High, the coaches were prepping the Patriots for a playoff game.
Do what got us here. Have some fun. Get this win.
Kyle Thaxton is one of the team's stars. Should college athletes get paid?
If they're the ones playing and doing it on the court, then they should be the ones getting paid also. It shouldn't just be the coaches.
Coaches who can make $6 million a year or more. And it's not just pay.
In NCAA sports, you have players who can be stuck with sports-related medical expenses.
Ramogi Huma, who played football at UCLA, has been doing the lonely work of organizing players.
Injured players can lose their scholarships. Graduation rates hover around 50% amongst the sports who are generating this money. And the NCAA is refusing to adopt the same concussion reforms that the NFL has adopted. We're not advocating for professional salaries and things like that, but we're saying that, look, some of that value should be given in the form of basic protections like medical expenses and degree completion.
NCAA President Mark Emmert declined an interview, but we caught up with him at a press conference. Why not pay college athletes?
Because they're students and they're not employees at the end of the day. You know, young men and women come to college because they want to get an education, because they want to participate in their sport as part of that educational experience.
We relayed Emmert's response to Ed O'Bannon.
The way that they run their business, and that's what they're doing, they are running a business. You can't possibly do that and think that your employees, because these athletes are employees, they shouldn't get paid. That to me is mind-boggling.
But it was time for the tip-off. In the playoff game, the home team seemed comfortably ahead. But big-time college sports is rarely comfortable, says Joe Nocera.
Really being an athlete on a campus is a full-time job. The NCAA rules say it's only supposed to be 20 hours a week.
Yeah, 20 hours
But
of
if you go on a road trip,
working out and stuff, like it's,
they only
a
count
regulation.
the time you're on the floor. So when you're in the airplane, when you're in the hotel, that doesn't count.
And on campus,
You have weightlifting in the morning, then you go to some classes, then you've got practice, then you've got more strength training, then you've got enforced study hall. You know, you go to bed at midnight, you get up at 6, you do the whole thing all over. It's a full-time job. And not only that, let's be honest, there's a cartel that is suppressing the wages of the labor force, if you want to think about it in economic terms.
cartel, we asked the NCAA's Emmert.
He's allowed his opinions.
Turns out it's not just the NCAA that has a problem paying players, though. Cardozo Law School professor Iko Yanka.
The more and more we treat them as young minor league professional athletes, the further they'll get from the other things that we find valuable about college.
Or as Liberty High senior Khalil DeRuin put it,
we don't want the importance of being a student to be diminished more.
Moreover, Iko Yanka asks, if you pay basketball, football, and baseball players...
What does that mean for our water polo team? What does that mean for volleyball? There is a dangerous line.
That means you should pay them.
A very natural thing to do.
It's not a dangerous line.
Revenue-generating sports and get rid of all the others.
So Professor Yanka has an alternative for athletes who aren't students.
If there are young people who are not at all interested in being student athletes and their life's project is to develop their particular athletic talent, there ought to be a professional developmental leagues into which they can go.
They have
that. Now, the main option
they
for
have that in the NBA. It's called the D League.
Going to an NCAA.
What do you mean?
Do almost all of them think they're going pro? That is, people who play in Division I college, let's say?
In my experience, yes.
And it's a delusion, right?
It's a delusion, but I think it's the right delusion. You have to think you're going to go in order to get there.
Okay, so what happened to O'Bannon's Liberty Patriots? Hoop dreams dashed, theirs, and by this time ours, they wound up losing 67 to 61.
As a coaching staff, we tip our hats to you guys because you played hard all season.
What you guys did today in these previous 4 years, you will get to further your education and get it paid for. That's the goal.
And maybe even getting paid extra in cash. And so in the end, what's happened to the lawsuits? Well, EA Sports actually settled for roughly $60 million, with thousands of players past and present getting on average about $1,600 each. The money finally awarded just this week.
Oh, wow.
In 2014, the court ruled the NCAA's refusal to pay players was an antitrust violation, and also ordered up to $5,000 per student athlete be put in trust for using their likenesses. But the NCAA appealed, and the money award was reversed. And so, this Tuesday, O'Bannon's lawyers asked the Supreme Court to review the case. From Henderson, Nevada, This is economics correspondent Paul Solman for the PBS NewsHour.
Dang. Ooh, that's the end of the video. Okay. Ooh. Should college athletes get paid? Yes. And my reason for it is because of all the time they put into their craft, whatever sport they play, whether it's volleyball, basketball, baseball, football, whatever sport, soccer. Yeah, I think they should get a piece of the pie, because you see a lot of these, like, you see the NCAA tournament broadcast on ESPN, CBS, TNT, all that. And the NCAA rakes in money off of the contracts that they made with those broadcast outlets. So, yeah, they should get a piece of the pie, because all the time they put into the weight room, all the time they're on the court, all the time they're on the road in hotels. Yeah, they should get paid. Now, I don't know how much they should be compensated, but they should get a piece of the pie. Because like Ed O'Banion has said earlier in the video, there was times where he was like not able to eat or didn't have money to eat. And this probably will bring up the argument, well, you can work while you're in college, you can work a job and go to school. True, but he's a student athlete. So how are you going to work a job and be a student athlete and play the sport and be a student? It's like you got to have a time, like a life balance. So you got to have time and life balance. You got to have balance between the three. So it's like, I think they should get paid. I do. Now, in the off season, when they're not playing the sport, that's when you get a job or whatever, during the summer or whatever. But when they're like in season or whatever, yeah, they should get paid. They should get a little piece of the pie. And I know this is going to bring up the argument, well, they're already getting paid because they get scholarships, and they get their school paid for. True. That covers tuition, their classes, room. What about food? What about clothes? What about everyday stuff? What about if they have a car? What about for gas and all that stuff? Like, I think they should get paid during the season, like, because they're sacrificing their time to, play the sport. And during the season, yeah, they should get paid. But after that, get a job. I don't know. Like, yeah, that's my thought on that. Like, I think they should get paid during the season, like some type of compensation. Like, I don't know how much, but they should get a piece of the pie. And this is part of the reason why you see a lot of kids like come into the NCAA playing college basketball, and they only do 1 year, because they come from situations where their family's not really doing financially well. And in order to improve that situation, they decide to go to the NBA and try to get the $1 million contract so they can help their families out. So, yeah, they should get paid. They should get paid during the season. I don't know about like off season, but they should get paid when they're in season, or when they start doing weightlifting sessions and training and all that stuff. Yeah, but they should get paid. And like I said, this is a controversial topic. I'm going to hear it be like, man, well, they already get paid because they get scholarships. True. But these universities that pay these coaches like $6 million and, $10 million to coach, and they don't get a piece of the pie, and you got kids that are like starving. Like I said before, this is the reason why when the Fab Five was together, that's why they all went to the NBA, because they weren't getting none of the like revenue from jersey sales, or they weren't getting none of the revenue from ticket sales, none of that. And they were like, hey, we're paying you in the form of a scholarship. That should be good enough. True. But these kids are like coming from their like home situations where their family's not doing good. So you gotta compensate these kids somehow. Like I don't know how much you pay them, but this is a good topic, and this is gonna be a topic where for years to come, because they should get paid. And I think if they had this rule in place where they pay college athletes, especially in basketball, you wouldn't have a lot of one and done players, because of the simple fact that am I going to pass up millions of dollars or stay another year of college? I'm going for the money, not for college, because you can always go back to school and further your education. So, yeah, this is a good topic. I like this topic, and go ahead, comment down below. How do you feel about, should college athletes get paid? My opinion, yes, and I kind of stated why. And just comment down below what your opinions are on this topic, and comment down below as well if you want me to do a reaction to another topic that y'all have on your minds or whatever. And I'm gonna go ahead and sum up this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace. Cut the camera off, Sean, and pay these kids, man. They working their butts off for these schools. Pay them.